What's going on, everybody? This is Abby here with another episode of Modern Day Unicorns, and today I have a homie from way back. It's weird when you can say back in the day because you never want to get older, but either way, this is Angel Robinson. We went to high school together, and I'm so excited to have her on the podcast today to share a little bit more about her life, and what she's doing present day. Angel, welcome.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you for allowing me to enjoy this amazing podcast. Bright and early, everybody. Let's get this podcast started. Come on, let's go.
Well, Miss Angel Robinson, can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself? Maybe like where you're from, where you're living now.
Where I'm from, I'm a South Carolina girl. I was born in South Carolina, small town, coming from a family of 6, and I'm the youngest, and I have a twin brother. So we moved to Georgia when I was in the 3rd grade. So when I met Abby, it was Marietta days, but so I'm still in Georgia till this day. So sometimes I'm a Georgia girl, but people know I still have a little countryside of me from the small town type thing. So I'm in Georgia right now. Yeah.
You're a Southern belle either way, South Carolina, Georgia. You from the South.
I'm from the South, but when you come here, it's like, oh, you're a small town girl. I'm like, yes, I am. I'm not a city type girl. I like to be in the country. I'm more of like seeing the stars at night. I do not like my street light in front of my house. I'm like, it take away that small town girl inner type from what I have, because that's just where I find peace, away from everything. So, yes, I'm a small town girl. Yeah.
I'm with that. You're a small town girl that's been a lot of places. So let's dig into it, right? So Angel and I crossed paths via basketball. My career ended a lot earlier than hers because I stopped growing and my skills just weren't there. Angel, on the other hand, is 6'5" and and has had a thriving career when it comes to basketball. So Angel, can you take us through let's dive into how you started basketball, because you come from an athletic family in general, but where did athletics start for you, and then kind of take us through your journey.
I mean, this is the story a lot of people don't know about it. I strongly disliked basketball when I first started. Like, it was like, why am I playing? Like, my father saw a gift that I did not see at a young age. Like, he taught us discipline at a young age. He was teaching us martial art at the age of 3. We were lifting weight, like little, we're not doing 10 pounds. We're talking about body weights and everything. Like, me and my brother we're close to age. And I was more into, I had a creativity. I was into drawing. I was into building things. I started playing piano at a young age, and I stopped, because we moved to Georgia and my parents couldn't bring my piano here. So that kind of lost interest in that. And basketball, I would say my brother put the ball in my hand, because our entire family is athletic. I have cousins, sisters, and, we're his family. So I would say I did not like basketball until I didn't genuinely fall in love until my sophomore year in high school. And people would never know that. I fell in love my sophomore year in high school because I attended a basketball camp. Pete Newell, one of the greatest post player coaches in the United States. My family scrapped up money for me to fly to California, and talking about it was a game changer. I said, oh, wow, I am good at this, I like it. I like the competition. And I already had that discipline mindset at a young age. If you work hard, things comes in for those who work hard. Like, work harder than the next person. Work harder, be better than the person you were the day before. And that always been, that was imprinted in our brain because, coming from a big family, discipline, having faith, my mother, she's an evangelist, she'll be celebrating her ordained ministry real soon. Congratulations, Mom. Coming from a family of belief and actually education was very important. So it played both hand in hand for me. I told my mother, you're not going to pay for my college. I'm going to find a way to pay for college. And using my God-given gift at basketball, I would offer opportunity to play for University of Georgia. Not only a full ride, I was close to home. So you're talking about me and my twin brother. Yes, we did go to college together, tag team. We would sneak away and like, hey, we got weekend off. Who driving? Of course, James is driving. James, yeah. He's driving. So coming from it, you said athletic. Yes, I come from a family athletic. My sister, I would say she's the first one that started off in our generation. She ran track at University of Clemson.
Mm.
And after that, they said either you or your child or your younger sibling or your cousin is going to follow your footsteps to the next level. So it goes down to my cousin, Chris White, offensive lineman, University of South Carolina football, another athlete. I have a younger cousin, University of Kentucky football, Eugene McCaskill, another athlete. I had another cousin, UAB football. So I would say she paved the way for girls in my, like if my sister like is telling me, hey, it take this hard work, you're smart, you have the ability. Like you said, I am 6'5", which is not normal. Come on, you guys. I might not look 6'5" sitting on the camera, but yes, I am 6'5", and using that God-given gift. And I think when it comes to having great footwork, that started off when I was younger. My parents used to make me dance in church, like church recitals. Yes, I love dancing. Yes, I might not be on point as it used to be, but I can clap my hands, stomp my feet every now and then.
The fundamentals is all you need.
It's all you need. Like you just know the beat, and transpired to on the court. I was known as ballerina on the court. Like, so you're doing spin move, all this stuff. That the way you move is so fluid. Like my college coach said, I run like a deer. I'm like, I don't know if I can take that as a compliment. Thank you, Coach Landers. I appreciate that. It's just an inside joke. And I have a nephew, 16 years old, who committed to the University of Georgia as well for baseball. He's one of the top players in Georgia. I can't keep up with the kid. I love you, Trey, but I'm sure that I know you're top 30 in the nation as well. Congratulations. I don't give him, I want him to remain humble, because during that time, how humble I was, how quiet I was.
Mm-hmm.
People I kept around, the more you keep yourself around positive people that can help better yourself on and off the court, it takes you a long way. So yeah, we come from a family of athletes. My mom, she got that old school form. Yeah, if you see it, I would love to play on the court with her one more time. My dad is my best friend. My dad was my competitor. And side note, I'm a little bit taller than my dad. So my dad used to kick my behind sometimes. It go from running, tennis, whatever you can think of. He always kept us active. And that was very important in our family, being active, giving back to the community, education, spot on. My mom had her own athletic rules. She said, oh yeah, I don't care if you barely pass. This is my rule. You do this, then you'll go further. I don't want you to do halfway, just barely getting by. So you talk about graduating with honor from high school was very important. My mom's like, yes, good job. That's what you're supposed to do. It's like sometimes we live in a generation where people want to get pat on the back for making good grades. No, that is something you're supposed to do for yourself.
Like standard.
This is your standard. This is you're putting this on your level. Like, this is where I want to be. You don't want to be just average. Find out what your purpose is in life. I am the type to I don't blend in as well. I don't blend in as well. That's not a bad thing. I'm just unique. I'm quiet. I'm actually an introvert. So Abby actually had me out of my comfort zone. And I come only out of my comfort zone to actually speak knowledge, give wisdom, advice here and there. But you're gonna see I'm quiet most of the time. Very quiet. So
you're doing a great job so far. Now I wanna talk. You told us about, you were kind of encouraged when you were younger for your academics and for athletics, which is great. And then how everything kind of clicked for you when you were a sophomore, right?
A sophomore. Yeah.
So let's fast forward. Now
Okay.
you're established in basketball.
Mhm.
You All-American, everything like that. Full ride to go to college. Now you're finishing college.
I'm finishing college, yes.
You're finishing college.
Yes.
And you get drafted.
Ooh, that is a funny story on that night. I dealt with, before we can fast forward, I fell in love more when I had a devastating injury my junior year when I tore my ACL. I think everybody saw how much I changed. They saw that the excitement wasn't there, but the love grew stronger during those rehab time. And top off to Jeff Hop, he was pushing me. He said, if you want to make it back, you do what I said. I'm like, okay. This guy who was a athletic trainer for Minnesota Vikings. Why not take advice from him? Day in, day out. It's not just what you do with your trainer, what you do at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to do rehab alone at home because my family didn't want to see me hurt. Like they would leave the room like, okay, she's about to cry, but she's pushing herself. Like they see tears. There would be tears, but and after those tears, just wasn't tears of pain. It was tears of joy. Like I'm getting one step closer back to playing the game I love, and I missed so much. But I definitely didn't miss the weekly peach cobbler from my mom. Shouldn't have done that during rehab, but they were trying to find some happiness. Like, hey, you can get this. The day I got drafted, I was in my 5th year. Yes, I dealt with another devastating injury. The first game of my college career.
Mm-hmm.
Came back a year later. So that's why I was redshirted, and I was blessed with another year as a 5th. My mom like, well, go get your master's. I'm like, I don't want to get no master's, Mom. Like, why? I graduated. No, stay in college, get your master's, because you're going to need it. It's great. You're at a great institution. This would be great on your resume. And, like you said, knowledge is nothing to waste. Like, take advantage of the situation, which I did. I said, okay. And I did make a promise to my teammate to come back my 5th year. So I'm still holding on to that. She said, you promised to come back. So I was working on a paper. I was working on my grad school paper. I got a phone call from the LA Spark. They said, oh, congratulations, you've been drafted. I am in a study room at my dorm. I'm away from everybody. I didn't want to go to study hall. Before that conversation, I told my head coach, I don't want to play anymore. I said, I'm just going to finish my master's, go into teaching and coaching, which was my aspiration as well. Because my passion for kids is so deep. It runs deep. It really runs deep. When I got drafted, I'm like, okay, I got drafted. We're talking about LA Sparks here. We're talking about my role model. I don't believe in idols. You know how people say God. No, she was somebody I look up to. Lisa Leslie, amazing basketball. They were asking me all these questions that I was not prepared for. I'm like, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm done. I'm mentally tired. I just want to take a break from it. So went on to training camp and everything, and I was like, I'm still not ready. Mentally, I'm not ready to play at this level because I was dealing with countless nagging injuries during my senior year. I'm like, I just need a break. I'm gonna call this guy my little angel, Mike Cowan, my first agent, and my agent throughout my entire career. He said, why not go overseas? I said, okay. I didn't know that was an option. Because I'm coming from a family where this is the first for everything. Like we did the first for anything. Like my mom being the first in her generation to go to college and finished off with a PhD. Like somebody was the first to do something in our family. We're breaking generation curse. Like, hey, let's be better. Like taking the next step. And so I always wanted to travel, which was my childhood dream. I wanted to be a ballerina that played violin and travel all around the world. Yes, age 6'5" girl at the time, but yes, I was not 6'5" when I was 3 years old. So to pay attention, that was I just want to do that. I said, all right. So I used that summer. I trained my butt off. You're talking about I work out 3 times a day. So I would go to yoga, Pilates in the morning. I would lift in the afternoon, and I go play at night. That's 3 times a day. And my parents knew my schedule. It's like, okay, she's heading back out. Okay, she's heading back out. They didn't say anything to me. They watched. It was like, yeah, she's going in. And coming over, I play in Portugal, beautiful country. Lisboa, Portugal, Obrigada. I love it. It was beautiful. I awakening, because I'm in a different culture. I didn't think this too clearly either, because I didn't have too many people like, oh, you're going to learn different language. You're going to have different plug input. I'm like, what? So y'all don't use I thought this was universal. This is a regular plug, like cables and everything. The currency, I'm like, euros. I'm like, euros are worth more than dollars. So you're telling me this meal cost €2, or like, let's say 15 euros. I'm like, that's a lot of money. No, it's not. Really not. It's really not. And it come back and change. Like, you don't get dollars, you get coins. So I'm like, okay, it took me a year to figure out everything. And I was still finishing off my master's program during my first year overseas. So my agent just told me one thing. He said, be a rebounding monster. I'm like, okay, just rebound. That's it. He said, yeah, that's it. I just want you to rebound this year. That start led me to 11 years of successful basketball, like playing in Spain, playing in France, playing in Portugal. I played in Portugal, Turkey. I played in Russia. I have a dual citizenship in the country of Montenegro. I competed with them on a national team. And one summer, my father's like, he said, give WNBA a chance again. I'm like, okay. I love the game, but you're playing 8-9 months. I'm away from my family, 8-9 months idea. I said, so you telling me I should dedicate my summer to play again, which I fell in love with more. So I would call back to play with the Phoenix Mercury, the Seattle Storm. I was surrounded by amazing people, still traveling. Now I did more traveling overseas than I do in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So I would find interesting things. Like I went to New York. I went to the New World Trade Center. Very sad, but it was beautiful. When you go to LA, you're playing at a Staples Center, like it was still great. It was a great opportunity, but yes, those 11 years, I can talk for days on those 11 years. It was a lot of up and downs, a lot of success, a lot of adversity I had to overcome. It was challenging, but what my family saw was like, she getting through it. Like, her way through the airport. International airport is a lot more difficult to kind of navigate than the U.S. You have, okay, gate B. You got to take 3 trains to get to gate B, and I only have 15 minutes before my next flight. So it was just things that I've learned on my own. And being the youngest, yeah, that was like, my grandmother would say, who would have thought the youngest would be traveling? Who would have thought the youngest would take off? Like, he was so protective. It's like, I never called him when I was sick, because he's like, nobody's there to take care of you. I said, Grandma, I just have a cold. That's it. Or I rolled my ankle. Well, who's taking care of you? I said, Grandma, I'm by myself. I'm going to be okay. So overseas was an amazing, eye-opening experience, learning about different cultures, especially coming from a family, with a Christian background, like being strict and everything. My mom was doing that for a reason. And my sister's like, well, look how you turned out now. I said, yeah, I agree. So just being able to embrace everything and not being judgmental. And at first I'm like, so you guys don't go to church on Sundays, or so we're allowed to do this? Or it was just things out of the ordinary. So I still kept my place. I still stayed what I believe in. But being around those amazing girls, amazing coaches. Yes, I had some good and bad coaches, but as long as I was doing my job, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters. So, but I missed it a little bit, but not as much.
I remember having a conversation with you back when you first were about to go overseas, and you were like, I don't know if I want to go. It's so far.
It is far. It is far. And then the time zone different. I'm like, oh, so we're not. It was so many things going through my head. So I'm like, everybody, I am 6 hours ahead of you. Like my first year, I'm 6 hours ahead of you. So if you get off work, I would be asleep. When I wake up, you would be asleep. So it was finding time to communicate with my families and friends. And I think I just got used to it. It's just a one flight away. It was I did some time when I snuck home for a weekend. Yes. They said, "Oh, so you're going home?" I said, "Yeah." So I will at least get about 36 hours at home.
Mm.
That's all I need to recharge, and I will be back. They allowed that to happen. So Russia, I mean, the country, the food. Oh gosh, we can talk about food all day. Man, gosh, I
I
miss
think
her.
you were like the first person. So my mother's British by way of Caribbean descent, but you were like my first peer that I saw or knew that had went and lived abroad. So I was like,
Hmm.
I know I live abroad now, but it's like even being able to see somebody else who was able to accomplish it. And years before, communication was as easy as it is now. I think 11 years ago, we were still on the calling card, you know?
Yes, we were doing Skype or had to call from Skype. Wi-Fi connection was not as good. You never know when you're gonna have a good day or bad day, and then it would freak out my parent. Like, I haven't heard her in 3 days, and then 3 days later, I said, "Sorry, you guys, internet was bad. I couldn't call out or anything." So those are the challenges we had to face. Like the kids today have it easy. We're talking about portable Wi-Fi everywhere, easy way to stay in contact with your family. Different. I would say technology played a huge role for people to kind of feel more comfortable
Hmm.
navigating in an unknown place. Like now, having an iPhone. My family transitioned to the iPhone so I can FaceTime them or FaceTime audio just to hear their voice. Or you remember, you're like, we're not waiting to 9 o'clock to get 3 minutes anymore. We're not waiting for that. So we don't have to worry about that. And now we have unlimited text messages. I'm like,
I'm about to say
okay,
y'all have that. I don't have that. I don't.
uh,
It ain't over here yet. But yeah, that's a mess. But
it's
even to point of your family, that must have been a point of concern because not only were you overseas, but you were also traveling.
traveling, constantly traveling. I would say playing in Russia was when we travel for away game, I don't sleep that night because I have to know I have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning just to get out of Orangeburg, just to get into the bigger airport in Moscow. And we're waiting, like we're finding hotels to sleep in for 2, 3 hours just to kind of refresh or finding food. Like it was so many things, but once you get used to it, people think that, oh, that's a lot. I said, no, once you figure out the ins and out, it's kind of easy. It make it more easier, but it was tiring sometimes. Even when I played in Spain, everybody, I love Spain. Yeah, I played in Salamanca and I played in Girona. Salamanca is a 2.5 bus ride to Madrid just to get to the airport. So you telling me we're getting up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So after practice, we'll watch. Now, don't forget, I missed those days in college. Like you're washing your own clothes, you're packing your own food, you're packing your own clothes. You don't forget your shoes. I've done that one time. I don't know how. Maybe I just hit a wall that night because we were driving to Madrid for a game, and halfway through the trip, I said, "Coach, I left my shoes." He said, "How do you know?" I said, "Because I know they're not here." And then, by the grace of God, yeah, it's hard. You can't just go to Foot Locker or Academy Sport, those kind of, retailers in Europe. You had to go to Decathlon or a store, and my feet hurt so bad after that game. Like I said, I would never do that again. But it's like, yeah. At that time, I'm like, okay, hey, did you have a pair of shoes? It's time to go win. Like, and then after that, you're gonna have to pay the price for it. You're talking about my feet was hurting for 2 or 3 days, and after that, that was the first thing I put by the door from that day on. It's just your shoes. Don't forget your shoes, Angel. So, the traveling, yes, Abby, I know you can relate to it. You can be delayed flight or snow on the road, and you can't drive that way. You have to be stuck in one town, and spend the night in a hotel.
Hmm.
Drive back, and your coach like, "Oh, we still have practice." And he said, "Yeah, this was our off day." I'm like, "Oh, God, off day is supposed to be away from you guys. That's what my off day is." But no, it was a grind. It really was. It really was a grind, but we got through it. Like it was months. So it's like, okay, I got 72 days before Christmas. Okay, after Christmas, I will have 82 days before my other break. Like we would do countdown. My mother was huge on that. She's like, "Oh, you'll be home in 114 days. I'm like, Mom, that don't sound attractive at all. He said, yeah, but that helped her get through the day. I'm like,
Oh.
that was my mom. My mom, yeah, that story. Well, I did post it when I retired. I said, this is the day that my mom and my dad took me to the airport. My mom cried. My dad was like, okay, there you go, baby girl. My dad was my cheerleader. My dad was like, hey, let's go. Like, let's go. My dad was always that guy that kind of kick you out the door, like, hey, I'm going to give you a little push. You need to do this. From that day on, my mom never taken me to the airport or picked me up. So this is our routine. So when I leave, I would spend a day with my parents at our house. And, so my mom would kind of like know that, okay, I'm leaving. I hide my bag in the car so she won't know it. So I give her a hug and she have to walk away. She can't see me walk out the door. She can't. She's like, I can't. She said, my baby girl leaving. I said, Mom, I've been here like 2 weeks. I'll be back. To me, I'm like, I'll be back in like 3 months. 3 months might sound like a year to them. For me, 3 months sound like we're going to get through this. We have game twice a week. Oh, we're going to be traveling, or that's going to make time fly by. That's what's going through my head. But for them, it's like day to day, what their routine is. So,
and that's true. When you have something to keep you occupied, you're just like, all right, I just got to go handle this. And they're just like, but you're not here.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it was definitely not like that my last year. We played during the pandemic, and talking about we was in our apartment the entire season, like practice, apartment, practice, maybe grocery store, practice, apartment, practice, apartment. It was just going back and forth. And then it wasn't because of the pandemic I wanted to retire. It was just mentally, I'm like, it is time. Like, what else I need to prove? Like, I've won numerous championships. I was MVP on a couple of years, player of the year a few years. I play with amazing players. I felt like I have given my all, but people look at it like, oh, you still have it in you. I said, it doesn't mean if I have it in me, I have to continue and run out of gas. That's just like playing with flat tires or something. Or I'm like, I know I have enough in me, but what else I need to prove? It was like a breaking moment. Like, hey, you can walk away from this and not think about like, oh, I wish I can go back. I've seen players done that. They retire like, I wish I would have gone back. It was never a moment like that for me. Even I'm like, oh, I wish I would. No. When I say I gave it my all, I accepted my failures. I accepted my success. And that's part of life. That's part of life. So once you learn how to accept those things, because you only know what you know during that time. And you can always come back and say, oh, it would have been funny if I would have known this 2 years ago. Like, that's called growth. Like, God wants you to experience, life learning and growing. Like, he don't want you to know it all to like just glide through it. Like, who want to know everything and just make life easy? No.
Now, with all that being said, and thank you so much for everything that you shared. I'd love to talk about your current transition. So after 11 years of professional basketball, you are now like a regular human being, if you will.
Regular human being. I'm still 6'5", so people still look at me as abnormal. So yes, I am. I'm living a normal, what's called normal life, what they say, where you work and you work and you have the weekend off. No, it actually it doesn't feel like that in my case. I've been married for, don't forget, I'm not alone. So I've been married for over 2 years. Me and my husband been married. He was also a professional athlete. Now he's in background entertainment, having his own, like working with kids. Like that's what he does. Something we are similar. We always finding ways to give back. He give back by volunteer. Kids, he don't look his age. Like people, he'll go out there and play. I'm like, baby, why are you just destroying these kids' confidence? He said, they need to learn, Angel. I'm like, okay. And I feel bad for the kid because once they ask what his age is, it's like, oh, we thought you was a lot younger. I'm like, yeah, I need for you to teach these kids. And he said, no, this is so I actually, during my last year, my old teammate actually have called me about this program called the WIN program, Women in Nike. And she was like, yes, I think you would be great for it. People don't call me for anything knowing that I would not succeed or benefit. It's not just benefiting them. They're like, okay, you can do this. You will be great for this. And she just kept talking. I'm like, actually, I just want time off, just at that time, I was still playing, traveling. It was a lot going on. So I was like, okay, you win. I said, let's just give it a shot. So the Women in Nike program is to help retire female athletes transition into the corporate world. So Nike offered that program with onboarding classes, with meeting with people, helping learning the role of being in a corporate setting, because in the last 11 years, we never got the work experience. Mm-hmm. And that hurts us when it comes to applying for jobs. So you're telling me I have all the knowledge, and on top of that, I have an education to back up because I earned my second master's during my 6th year, and I earned my master's in sports administration from the University of Miami. While I was playing at the same time, during that time, I need to build my resume. So when I'm done, I can find something I can kind of either have an entry level, like, okay, I don't have to be, oh, you're not qualified, mm-hmm. or you're overqualified, or we can start you off here. I'm like, why are you starting me off here? And I can be a little bit higher than what it is. So we were dealing with that, just not me alone. So they even go for coaching, teaching, or working. I don't know. It can be any job. We would get turned down majority of the time because of no work experience. I said, how can I work? I said, so you telling me professional basketball is not a job? Learning about different cultures, learning how to manage my time, learning how to be disciplined. Like, those not the attributes that you want from an employee. Like, we know all you have to do is teach us and we will figure it out. Like, that's how I compliment my cohort. And like, we're all smart in our own way because having basketball that kind of mold us to be to show that leadership side, show those attributes that a company would want from an employee. So mm-hmm. I'm part of this program, 2 years, right? And, we went through, the interview process was long. I'm like, I need to know what I'm doing next. I'm retired. Like, I'm freaking out. My husband like, calm down. You're going to get I said, no, it's not about getting it. It's like, what am I going to do? Like, the role they were offering was, in marketing, digital innovation, product line planning, merchandising. It was all different. I'm like, okay, all right, I can see myself as a PLM, a product line manager. You working with a group of people. I'm like, okay, that's like basketball. You working with a group of people to accomplish a goal based off, like I said, I look at it as a scouting report. Based off the scouting report that we have, let's execute this and win the game. That's just how I look at it. And then my manager yesterday was like, yes, that is probably a good way to look at it. I never thought of that way. So the interview process was long. It was long, And I'm like, okay, just be patient. Everything's on God's time, not ours. So always remember that. Everything's on God's time, not yours. So don't get frustrated in the things that you cannot control. So when I applied for the job that I wanted, you go from 1, 2, 3, I got number 1, associate product line manager. And the plus on that is in the kids department. I am a APLM for kid footwear and sports lifestyle. So I was like, I have a passion for kids. I get to, those are my consumers. Like, yes, like, what can beat this? So when I got that, I was so excited. And, due to the pandemic, I was supposed to be in Oregon now. So that was the only thing that my family kind of happy. They're like, oh, you don't have to leave anytime soon. You can still work from home. They're like, you just got home. I said, well, you guys knew I wasn't going to be home much longer. I'm always moving and everything. So I'm working with that job. I'm still learning a lot. It's constant learning. And I'm surrounded by an amazing group of people who want to see me. They are paving the way, like, little by little. different individuals are helping me to be successful in the role that I want to be in. And so that's a 2-year program. So that is my job. Yes, I am a full-time employee for Nike. So that is my
Congratulations.
transition. So, but on top of that, I actually still spend time doing commentating for year lead and year cup women's basketball. I still find a way to kind of connect with basketball. I still miss it. I still support my friends. I still support those I competed against, and I see the potential that they have. Like, this is fun to watch. People don't know the growth of women's basketball today, how it was when we was in high school. When I was in high school, it only one of, we're talking about Cobb County best. It was so many athletes, but so many only went so far at that time. So you have a group from high school. Let's do 10. Only maybe 3 or 4 will probably go play college. After that, maybe 1 out of those 3 or 4 would go to a professional level. But to me, today, I see girls with the confidence out of the world. And it's just fun to watch, from college basketball all the way down to, I don't know, middle school. These kids are already getting scouting reports, making tape, trying to get exposed. Now I'm like, we did not have this coming up. We had to travel. Like when I was in high school, we had to travel. I had to travel to Tennessee, North Carolina, California, Florida, just to get noticed. But that was harder back then to get like, okay, I have to put myself in a place where I can be seen. Today, click of a button.
Literally.
You're all over social media. It's everywhere. So these girls, they're using their advantage at a young age, and I love it. But sometimes when it comes to development, I feel like that should be done behind closed doors. That's just my opinion. I want to see, people don't need to know what you're doing to be successful. The quiet one are the ones who are working the hardest behind closed doors. So it's a different generation, something I'm still adapting to. Like they got to post when they walk to the gym. They got to post that they can live. No, it's not about that. I want to see progress. I want to see improvement. I want to see you taking seriously. I really think the importance of mental health is very important for these days. Back then, people was afraid to say it. And people were afraid to well, I'm struggling mentally. Yes, I had some days like that. Yes, I struggled mentally, but it wasn't really help. So you were seeing a psychiatrist or somebody that can help you, that define you as weak. To me, I'm like, no, I'm not weak. I'm strong enough to know that I am struggling mentally and I need help. And you're stronger when you seek out help, because we are stubborn human beings, think we know it all. All we got to do is wipe it off. Like, no, it's like a scar. You can't even put Moderna, Neosporin, or anything you're going to see that scar. That's how you look at it. So today is a little bit different, but I would advise to stay humble. Always have a plan B. Always have a plan B, because everybody wants to be a basketball player. Everybody wants to be an entertainer. Everybody want that, because know what you need. Have that relationship with God, knowing that what's your purpose. He always talking to you in the smallest way, because when I got my job offer from Nike, my manager called me. Now, for Oregon, what is the main thing? Oregon beaver, right? Oregon beaver, right? I had a beaver in my backyard when she called me. I'm like, those signs like that, yeah, this is where you're supposed to be right now. So just the small, she's like, oh, what? She said, where you live? I said, I know that's not a possum. We're in the South. I said, that's not a raccoon. I said, that is a big beaver. I don't know if she was pregnant or she was ready to find a place. I'm like, no, not in my backyard. No. Glad I freaked out. I said, Kelsey, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm freaking out. I gotta call my husband, tell him to bomb. It's not bombing. You know what it means. We did it the natural way, so they can just stay out of that setting. So she's not there anymore. Or I don't know what it was. It was too big. I'm thinking that the female looked like it was carrying a pack of 12. I don't know. So look at those small signs to help you help guide your way. Always feel free to research, learn more. Not so in my job, I'm learning more about other people's job. I get excited about them. Like, tell me what you do. How can I, since we're in a triad, so how can we communicate like with each other when we need to get something done? What do you do when you're under stress? Like, or just changing the subject. Like, what's your favorite ice cream? Like, what is your hobby? Like one of our color designers, Steph Peterson, is a yo-yo legend. You can look him up. I'm like, I am talking. I did my research. I'm like, you're like that dude. And to him, he just a laid back, the most creative person I ever spoke to. And I'm like, wow, dude. And the way it's how I say my accomplishment, and people will, wow. But to me, that was like, well, I'm happy about them, but I can't keep that on my shoulder to show who I am. I want people to see that the best compliment I receive, that Angel, you're a better person than you are a player. I'd rather have that compliment than, oh, she was a basketball player. No, what is she as a person? And I might say, I can ask you that question. What am I as a person? I see myself as an introvert, quiet, hardworking, funny, number one, nonchalant, and definitely stubborn. So that's just my personality. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to go out of my way quietly. Like, I do things where I don't want attention. That's just me. So I'd rather be a better person than what I'm doing. Like, oh, you a great person. I'm like, okay, I take that as a compliment any day. So
That's amazing. Well, you transitioned right into the tips.
what?
You said, yeah, you did it. You gave the 3 tips. You said, be humble. You said, be humble, work behind the scenes, do your thing. You also said, do your research,
Yes,
and then grow, be a better person than you are, like a player, which is dope.
yes. It's all about those things, and never forget the importance of faith. Like, faith is without work, it's nothing. Like, you can't just believe something and don't put in the work. That don't work. Like, you can't just, okay, I want ice cream today. So how you gonna get it? Like, think about it. It's just a small thing. So that was always huge to me. Like, you can have all the faith in the world, but if you don't put in the work and meet God halfway, I mean, that God can rain blessing on you. Like, you can do something. Like, if you give, He give back twice as much. Like, it's just amazing. Like, I'm like, wow. It's like my church in Antioch. I have a home church. I was baptized again at an age. You know how people get baptized younger. Yeah. So no, I was like, I want to get baptized for myself. I fully I want to have that connection through God for myself, not through my family, not through my friends, not through every. When I was baptized, like, it was the best feeling in the world. It seemed like everything just came off of me. So those people, they want to do stuff for me. I'm like, you guys don't know that your prayers, I might not hear it, but I feel it. All, for the 11 years, you guys like, oh, who we praying for today? Pray for Angel travel. Pray for Angel safety. Pray. That was the best gift I was ever given. Just your prayers. And it was like, you don't want, no. If you can genuinely just pray for me. That's all I'm asking for. So just having that, I have that spirit connection with God, like knowing that He's always there. And I battle with fighting against time. And I can't control that. Like, hey, you want to get this amount of time out of your day. How are you going to be productive? And I'm so hard on myself. I said, I'm going to get this done and I'm going to have to change this. Like, I'm very detail oriented. Like, and my sister, like, my family noticed it. Like, if you say, like Abby, you say you're meeting me for lunch at 1. All right. I'm going to be there at 12:55. I'm going to be at the table. I'm going to have the menus ready. I'm going to have the 2 glasses of water with lemon. Yes. It's like, okay, my friend will be here at 1. I better see you across that table at 1 o'clock. Or you send me a text message that I'm running late. I don't want to be sitting there at 1 o'clock. I didn't hear from you. I didn't see you. We're going to have a problem. I'm like, all right, you take that water back. I'm going to get this salad to go. And if we at Cheesecake Factory, I want the cheesecake. And I'm going to take it home. That's what I'm going to do. So, but I fight with time. And that is a crazy thing. And people don't notice it. Like, yeah, I tell you, if you're telling me you're meeting me this day and you don't show up, don't ask me to come back over no more. We're done. And you don't respond? No. No.
Respect my time.
Yeah, so like even being prompt has always been. I think it was just that military karate thing, that discipline that my father taught us, like being on time, being strong, being disciplined, being consistent is the key. Like you can't just do something one day and change your mind the next day and bounce. No, you're going to have days like that, but consistency, you show more improvement, you show more progress. It make you feel better, even like working out or being on a diet or reading your I think people struggle with this. Not tuning into your phone the first thing in the morning. Yeah. I had to catch myself sometime. I put my phone on sleep. So you cannot touch this phone from this time. This is your time to wind down. Like this is a different time we live in at Abby compared to high school, because
Listen.
in high school we were finding time to, I don't know, sing on the bus, doing the cheerleader chant, or reading a book. We're reading books or carrying our big CD player with one CD and it's all on replay. Like, yeah, we're gonna be turned like those. I miss those days because that actually brings a stronger connection. Like you get to know people better. Those times with no technology, it was really only book and basketball the entire and random sleepovers.
You gotta love it all. Listen, I want to thank you so much for your time and your expertise, and congratulate you for all of the wonderful things that you've done. I also want to give a shout out to Coach Sprake, because he allowed me to be the manager to be able to hang out with y'all more since I couldn't play. But but I got to be a part of the journey, and that was, that's always going to be super special to me.
Oh, thank you. No, Abby, you were awesome. You kept us on track. You made sure we had our water and all our stuff and everything.
Glorified water girl all day, every day.
Abby, I'm like, Abby, I'm knowing about it. I played all 4 quarters. I think I was the first person you ran to every time out, like especially the 30 minutes. Yeah, Sprague is still one of my closest friends today. So I can talk all day about him, especially my senior year. The senior year is probably when we grew closer, had a strong bond, and that was probably the best year I had in high school, and I did not want to walk away from it. But yeah, having you guys, Murdoch, Lindsay Taylor, the twins, Ashley Jordan, Jessica Bartome, like we can go down the list on that team. Like it was,
man.
I think the only thing that jumped off is when we first lost our first game my senior year, and we kind of like did some damage on that locker room. I don't know who paid for it, but yeah, we went on a winning streak after that. I said, that's all we needed. They said, hey, did we lost a game? I said, this is the second game of the year. Like, why are we tripping?
You got humbled real quick.
The second game of the year. Bird, like, we ain't losing no more game, Bird. I'm like, wow. Yes, my nickname is Bird.
Bird,
please.
That's right.
Yes, Bird. So
we did good that year. We did good.
Yeah, that was an awesome year. I would love to go back to that year because it was emotional, but we grew closer that year.
Wasn't it Maya that took us out that year? Maya Moore and them? Didn't they take us out?
Maya Moore took me out my last 3 years. So every year we had to cross them. Break, a funny story, we were supposed to lose region championship to not face her. I'm like, no, this is the first time we ever been in wet championship, and I'm going to, no, I'd rather face her. It would just, you can't just do those things. It can be worse in the outcome. I'm like, it's not about trying to switch anything. And being young, like being 17 at that time, and to speak with Coach Brad, Andy, Marty, and Coach Nesbitt, like, no, it's all about winning for us. We don't want to lose to
on a technicality.
Yeah, it's not that. It just those things are out of our control. So we had a chance, but we can't just be bummed out about it. But congratulations to Marietta finally winning a championship after nearly 50 years. It was a great experience. I was fortunate enough to see those girls take off before making and cheer them on. Like, please bring this back. I don't think you know how much the school needs it. Like, you got to show, like, meeting one of the players. It's 1951. My senior year, she came back. She's like, I need for you to win one. I felt so bad for not getting there, but I felt better. Like, we had a better group of individuals. I'm like, you guys did it. I know she had to wait a little bit longer, but we did it the right way. You guys won region. You guys did it. You didn't change your plans or anything. You said the goal is the championship. So congratulations, Marietta. girls basketball. I'm so happy for them. So,
And for you, I want to be respectful of your time. Congratulations on you again getting your jersey retired recently.
oh my God, that was a surprise. I'm sorry, that was a surprise. I got a message on Twitter. It was popping up. Me and my stepson, we're going to get Chinese food. I'm like, what is this? It said, congratulations, we're going to be celebrating your retirement. I'm like, retirement? I'm like, really? I was shocked. Coach DeWitt, you caught me off guard on that one. And nobody knew about it. Jeff Hawk, I called him. I said, did you know? He said, no. Coach Spread, he said, I just found out 2 minutes ago. I'm like, that was the biggest surprise. I wasn't expecting that. No, okay, so it was great. Thank you, Mayor Steve, for giving me. It was an amazing moment, actually, to connect with a few people, seeing family, seeing friends. Saw one of my closest friends, David Arnold, who kicked cancer ass. Like, I hug him. I'm like, thank you. The nickname we gave us, I call him White Chocolate. I was his brown sugar. We still that today. I met his fiance, and that was probably the biggest moment for him to actually come out and support me on that. And people know that I did get my jersey retired before I graduated high school. There was a lot of, oh, congratulations. No, I got that retired in 2005. People, where you been? I said, you got your jersey retired? I said, no, this is a retirement ceremony from basketball altogether. Thank you, Marietta. It was a beautiful night. It was hot. I didn't know it was going to get that hot. I don't know, for some reason, maybe I was nervous, due to the pandemic. I was holding my breath a lot. I don't notice that. I took my mask off. Okay. It goes, so yeah, it was an amazing moment. So, and on top of that, my girls won the game too. I was like, yes, I am a big fan of Chloe, number 2. I'm begging for her jersey. I don't think you know how much I love watching her play. I'm like, I know you're 5'6" and I'm 6'5", but you play like you're a big girl out there. So I'm happy for them. So yeah, thank you, Abby. I wish you were there, but you had to leave early.
Yeah, I had to get up out of there.
You got there. So yeah, that was awesome. I enjoy it. I was like, you guys are so sweet. Thank you. James took the jersey. My brother took my jersey. So they gave me another one. He said, I'm taking this to the house. I said, whose house? He said, mine. I was like, okay. I did not. I don't think I remember. I had to look at pictures because I didn't have a chance because, I had flowers, bad. I was like, okay, hold the flower. That's all I could do. They said, yeah, we got a bag of stuff for you. I'm like, yeah, is there a check in there too? Like, no.
No.
Okay.
Yes, no.
No. Okay. I take it. But you got some hot dogs in there, nachos, chicken sandwich. No, do it. No. So yeah.
Amazing.
It was awesome. It was awesome. But yeah, my job, I love it. It took a while to understand the acronyms and the language they speak. But after that, I'm gaining more confidence and still my trust in them. Of course, I'm gonna work well as a team. I would compliment it that I can challenge my teammates sometimes, the people I work with. I said, I hope they're not looking at the challenge. I'm looking at it like, hey, what does this mean? Like, well, we don't know. Like Nike changed their language every 6 months. So,
listen,
yeah.
Can you please share the places and spaces that people can follow and support you along this journey and just, get updates every now and then?
Okay, yeah. So since I retired, I kind of limit my social media because I want to keep that privacy a little bit. When it comes to my family, I have a little bit more privacy. So, but I do post funny things every now and then. So yeah, I have a little comedian thing inside of me, not compared to my twin brother. So you can follow me at I Love Me, A Rob at Instagram, Angel Robinson 33 at Twitter. And no, I'm not accepting anybody else on Facebook. On Instagram, you can catch me on some games on this platform called Twitch. Sometime I will call game with my friend Sasha, Alex from France. So I still have that connection. And yeah, but yeah, you can always reach out for advice and everything. And sure, I'm all open ears. You can ask Abby. If a stranger asks me a question, I do not hesitate to respond back. If it's not, goal related or something you want to do, or I don't hesitate for that. But don't start a conversation to no, I'm not that type. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't get comfortable with that just because I just want to protect myself, protect my family, and I just have to. Yeah, my brother's the same way. James, he protects me. He protects his family. That's why he don't post. I post things here and there. Yes, I am married. Yes, I know I do not have a child. If you see a little girl there, that is my friend's child. It's Shanae. Her name's Arbery, and she is like my little shadow. She follows me everywhere. So
So
that's
yes,
it.
if you have direct questions about goal related
Yes, it's all
objectives,
direct questions, like people you want to connect with. I have my handful of connection too. So, but yeah, it's only strictly for that. Only it's more strictly business than personal. If
mm-hmm.
you want something personal, like on mental health or something like that, I can point you a direction because as of now, I am taking a Yale course class on the the science of well-being by Dr. Lori Sancho, and it's amazing. So yeah, those are the things I'm doing right now because I figure that should be important for the younger generation and everything. And still learning my opportunity at Nike. It's everything building up. So hopefully in a year from two, something's going to pop up. But right now, it's more of a winding down, finding myself again without basketball. Like, remember, like, you're not defined by the sport you play. You are defined by how you handle yourself, your belief, what you put out there. Sometimes that's just how private I am. So I think people are starting to notice that, like, are you still alive? Yes, I'm still alive. Still my heart beats. I have an Apple Watch, to show that my heart is beating. So yeah, yeah, that's
Well,
all I can tell you, Abby.
once again, as we wrap this thing up, I'm super proud of you, and I want to thank you again for spending some time with me, catching up. It's wonderful to hear about your journey and just to have followed you over so many years and seeing the great things that you do. I look forward to seeing more of the awesome things that you're able to, to get done. You and your family, you guys are awesome. Always have been, always will be. But for those of you who have been watching, who've enjoyed this episode with me today, I want to thank you for taking the time. If you know anybody or any athletes who can be encouraged by this message, feel free to share it with them. And until next time, or if you're a unicorn or you know somebody that's a unicorn, I'd love to have a conversation with them. Hit me up in the DMs or shoot me a message. I'd appreciate it. Until next time, we'll see you.
Bye.